Hey, what's up? 819S here. Today I'd like to talk about how I changed by living in Japan. So I'm an American and I've lived in Japan for, I'd say 12 years. Now is pretty close to the 12-year mark. I sometimes say over 12 because it feels like that, but it's about 12 years right now. So I think I've completely changed. My personality has changed completely from living in Japan. There's a lot of reasons for it. I mean, the obvious ones are, you know, you're living in a country that speaks a different language, they have totally different customs, and Japan and America are wildly different, I would say. But there are a lot of different mindsets that have shaped the way that I've become now. And the one thing that I kind of think is funny is if I were my old self looking at my new self, I might think that I've become weaker, or maybe for the parlance it'd be like more of a pussy or something, but I don't know. Everything is a little bit different from living here. So some good examples: when I was a teenager, I liked BMX and skateboarding and rollerblading and kind of extreme sports. And you'd go to a place where you basically you knew you weren't allowed to do those things, but you'd play anyways until the police came or until security guards came. Then you'd leave, you'd hit up another spot, and you'd do it over and over and over again. And when I first came to Japan, I would find some cool spots. I'd find a little ledge that I could grind on, or I'd find something that would be great to ride. And maybe a month living in Japan, I would hit those spots, and you're surrounded by this awesome Jeep. You're surrounded by an awesome Jeep. You're surrounded by this quiet and this peace, and then suddenly you hear this BMX peg hit the concrete curb and make this grinding noise, and you become wildly aware of how much of a nuisance you are becoming. And you look at the curb after, and while not severely damaged, there's definitely a marking on it from your peg scraping on it, and you start to become aware that you're sort of damaging other people's property, and you're not being the most respectful person, you know? And you're not doing it to intentionally disrespect those people, but yeah. But you are being disrespectful nonetheless. So I think those kind of things really shaped how I behave. Another thing is, of course, again, I'm living in Japan as an American, and I think as a result, I'm sort of acting as a spokesperson for a lot of American people. When people see me, especially when I first came to Japan, because I was living in the countryside, I mean, there were very, very, very few other American people around at the time. So when people see me, they would get the impression, oh, this is how American people behave. So if I was the wild, noisy, rude kind of jerk, then I think it would form bad impressions on other people. They would think, oh yeah, American people, this is the way they act. So it forced me to be a little bit more polite and respectful and things. Not that I would want to be rude anyways, but you know, it made me more conscious of my actions and my behavior, and how people may interpret my actions and behavior. So that's another big thing. I started to think too about why Japanese kids or Japanese people act the way that they act, and why American people act the way that they act. Because a lot of times you find kids in America doing really wild and crazy things. Think about like Jackass, the TV show Jackass, and then a lot of like teenagers or young kids might want to emulate or act like that. But you don't really see kids wanting to do those kind of things that much in Japan, at least from my experience living here. And I think I've come up with the reason why. I think there are two things. One, a lot of American people live intentionally or unintentionally by a kind of rule where it's better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. So just do the thing you want to do and if someone has a problem with it, you say you're sorry. I think there are a lot of American people who live by rules like that. I'd say I'm guilty of doing that kind of thing quite often too. I mean, I knew, like the example before with skateboarding or BMXing, I knew I was not allowed to do the thing there. But I did it anyways, and then when the security guard or whoever would come, just be like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't know about it. Oh, I won't do it again." And next week you'd be back, and the same security guard would stop you, and you'd feed him the same line, and you know, he knew, you knew, but it was just what you did because you were a teenager and you wanted to have fun. I think a lot of American people tend to think that way. You do the things that you want to do because you want to do them. And I think another one is a lot of American people, young people, I guess this is a little bit more juvenile of a mindset than an adult mindset, but I think there might be adults who think this way too. The idea that you consider risk and reward when you take an action. So if I do this thing, what's the potential punishment if I get caught? I don't really want to get my bike all wet today. See if I can sneak by on the side here. Awesome. You know, a lot of people think, what's the potential punishment if I get caught? And then, is it worth it to give it a try or not? I would say that I'm guilty of doing that kind of thing quite a lot when I was young. I was guilty of doing that kind of thing a lot when I was young. That's awesome graffiti. Ames. A good example might be something like shoplifting. Again, this is a really juvenile thing. I definitely, absolutely don't do it since I've been an adult. But, you know, when you're young, it's like, if I steal this candy bar, I can save my own money. I don't have to spend money. And if I get caught, because it's just a candy bar, I might just get off with a warning, and the worst case scenario might be that they call the police, and then the police will contact my parents, and then I'll get in trouble. So the reason I don't want to shoplift is I don't want the police to come, and I don't want my parents to be called. And I think Japanese kids don't always think the same way. In Japan, a lot of people's mindset is you don't do it because it's not right. You don't always consider the risk or the punishment. You just don't do bad things because bad things are bad. This Jeep's coming up this wall? Oh man. That is awesome. Yeah, right here there's an awesome off-roading place. I think a lot of 4x4s ride here. I don't know if a lot of dirt bikes ride this section, but I guess they definitely could. There's no easy way to get there. The only way to get down there is to go where this Jeep just came back up, the Jimny, right here. So you have to go down this concrete wall. It's a little bit on the steep side. I've been a little bit scared to try it, so I haven't been down here yet. I don't know if the bike will bottom out. That's the main thing that I'm scared of. If I hit the skid plate, because I don't have a skid plate on it, I just have the frame. The plastic skid plate that's on the bottom is the stock one from Honda, so I don't think it would really do anything. If I had a skid plate on, I would definitely go down there. But this bike is important for commuting and for daily transportation, so I'm not going to take a risk today. So as I was saying, you know, I think a lot of people in Japan don't do things because they are not right. Not because they consider the risk or reward. They don't really consider the punishment that they would face if they did the bad thing. I think that changed me quite a lot too. You know, when I'm taking an action that could be considered rude or against the rules or something like that, I would definitely not do it. Yeah. I've become a lot softer and a lot more considerate of other people, for better or for worse. Some other things that have changed, I think, have to do with I don't know. I would say maybe life and death, something like that. I think I'm a little bit more like not scared. I don't think scared is the right word. Scared of dying or something like that. But I feel like time is precious, and this has nothing to do. This doesn't completely have everything to do with living in Japan, but you know, as life progresses, as you get older, you start to feel there are things I wish I had done, or there are things that I want to achieve still. And as time progresses, I realize that there are a lot of things that I still want to achieve. That's a trials bike. That's awesome. There are things that I still want to achieve that I'm far from. I'm so far away from. And I think like Japanese mindset is, if you don't achieve the thing when you're young, it becomes harder and harder to achieve it when you're old. And I guess I'm thinking more about like job hunting. So in America, if you start a brand new career when you're in your 40s, it's no problem. But in Japan, if you don't have experience by 40, it's pretty hard to get a job. In my case, I want to find an IT job. I want to find a computer programming job, most specifically like a Swift programming job. And people say there are a lot of them out there, but I haven't been able to find one yet. And I think part of the reason is when they look at my resume and they see my age, they're like, oh, he's 40 and he doesn't have any like proper professional experience. So we're not going to be the ones to test him out. I have put apps in the App Store, but I don't know that counts. I mean, it's still pretty amateur. And then the other thing, it kind of relates to this in a way. I think Japanese people tend to do one thing and do it to the best of their ability. And American people tend to do a lot of different things. You know, jack of all trades, master of none type of thing. A great example of that is like school sports. In America, a lot of kids like play 3 different sports every year. In my school, it probably would be, you know, volleyball in the winter, volleyball in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring. Again, can I make it down this with no problem? It's scary. Oh, no problem. Man, that was fun. Scary at first, but so fun. Alright, so where was I? Yeah, so in America, like, think about sports. In America, a guy or girl might play 3 sports in a year, 2 or 3 sports in a year. But in Japan, it's generally just one. Like, if you're a soccer player, you always and only play soccer. If you're a baseball player, you always and only play baseball. I mean, as a hobby with your friends, you may end up playing some other sports just to goof around, but like in the school, on a team, you're just on that one team and that's it. Some awesome graffiti. Simple graffiti. And then the other things that really changed me, you know, things like lifestyle things. Like I sleep on a futon. I don't sleep in a bed. I was used to commuting everywhere by train, by bicycle, and on foot. Now I'm hoping to commute by motorcycle instead. Yeah, just things like that, daily life things. I'm a little bit scared of riding off-road still, so here we go. Wow, there's graffiti down here. I would have never expected that. The last thing that I would say changed about me is my language. I mean, as an English teacher, my job was to help students acquire the English language, and if I spoke exactly like a native speaker at native speed, they wouldn't really understand. And as a beginning English teacher, I felt it was better to slow down and to use simpler language just to help the students understand, and once they can start communicating and basically get really simple conversations down, we can start using more and more advanced language. And I still think that's a good way to study for a lot of people, but I'm starting to come to the conclusion that it's not always the best. This is a kind of the way I think about it now. Where was I? I completely forgot. Wow, beautiful, beautiful scene. Oh man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make a part 2 to this video, because I think I've lost some of the points that I wanted to make by off-roading. I never took that path all the way like I did today, so it was something new for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and look forward to a little bit more. There's a lot of things that changed about my life, definitely, from living in Japan. Diet and lifestyle, everything. But I guess I'm gonna have to make a part 2. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ride safe.